setting aside for certain things you want to do or you want to. I mean, if it's just a toy you want like that, don't incur debt like that and put you in a bind. I'm not saying that for something tragedies that happen to people's life like that, there's certain things that you can't have, but some people, brought themselves in bondage, and we have a culture again that sets you up for that. We're built on debt. I mean, you can be a 12-year-old, get a credit card, not even have a job. So so just try to work together if you're both working, and be prompt and with your bills, and educate yourself. I mean, look at doing some side hustles or whatever.
I think when we talk about that, it's looking for resources and things you can do. I've shared this before. There was a guy that wrote a book, and I read on this that he lived off $130,000 for 30 years. And the big thing he shared was if you concentrate more on what goes out than what comes in. Most people just try to meet the need more and get more in instead of stopping and saying, let's see what's going out.
Yeah, well, I guess it's like a discipline as well too. You can have $10,000 a month, and there's people that make $100,000 and both in the same shape.
Right.
Because you just spend more, and you incur more debt.
Right.
Getting over you. So it's a self-discipline there too. It's not how much you make. If you don't change that habit on the inside, then you're just going to incur more debt. Well, I can buy more, bigger this, bigger that, But hey, put back and save, and look for a rainy day, because rainy days are coming.
Yeah, and I think too what you do is, and I've interviewed car salesmen too, and people in dealerships. You've got to know that car is not an investment. It's to get you from point A to point B in the end. In the end. Yeah. And you gotta settle down sometimes. And I used to trade cars, man, like a monster. I would trade. Yeah. I love trading cars. Loved the smell of a new car, and I would trade with no thought of how much it cost in the end. Yeah. And that was foolish. Okay. Yeah. and I see it now. I'm thinking, man, I don't, I'm going to ride the tires off of it.
Yeah, we learn as we go. Which my wife, she says I'm like my dad. And if it ain't broke, I hate debt, So I'm blessed to be debt free. Thank the Lord. Like to keep it that way, If I kind of got the picture, if I can't pay for it, I don't need it. I tell people like, hey, if your roof blows off, you don't have the money. Well, you're gonna have to go borrow and get it fixed, But yeah. She says she's on to me all the time. You need a new truck or whatever. I said, honey, my truck's good. It ain't got but 240-some thousand on it. It's a GMC, God's Money Chariot. So she's doing good. Yeah, but my dad, we laugh about him. I think we figured up one time he had 3 vehicles in I think about 40 years. Man. He told me he had a little over $6,000 in them. That. But that was just Dad. He just said it gets me from point A to point B. Right. He don't care, But yeah.
Yeah, but I think a lot of times, like you're saying, if we can learn to discipline ourselves and say, hey, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be careful with it. And and that has to be. And I stress it. I stress it a lot. What I found too is, and I was sharing with a family member a while back. I said, you can ask advice. You can do what you want in the end. But it doesn't cost to ask people. Yeah. What do you think about this? Yeah. My cousin and I do this all the time, about every day. Anything we got something going on, we talk to each other about it. We say, what do you think about such and such? In the end, you can do what you want to do, but you get a little advice.
Oh yeah. Well, we're none of us are ever too old to learn.
Right.
That's kind of, I think, that's a lack probably this generation too. You're taught so many things, but you're not taught in like schools just the basics of how to invest, and how to handle money like that. It's just not taught in schools, like that. That could be helping a lot of this younger generation,
yes, sir.
Of not incurring debt and things like that, or think about it, It's not that you couldn't have that. If you can afford it, that's good. If it's not putting you in a bind, great. But pressure or I have to have this. I said sometimes look at it and just walk off a little bit, give it a week or two if you still got that same burning fire, But many times you're like, thank God I didn't buy that,
I give it a month or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about things like that all the time. Well, let's take this challenge, okay? If young Mickey come up, open the door right now, and he would scare us a little bit, and he was here.
Just like that.
I'm not going to say anything, but I'm saying if he come up and said, what advice could you give him the things that you know now, which you're smarter now than you was then. You thought you were smarter then than you are now, but you're smarter now, and you know more, and you've been through life. What would you say to him?
In depending on where he's at, you know,
He's just where you were. If 18-year-old Mickey.
Oh, he's 18. Well,
18-year-old
I didn't know
Mickey
Jesus
walked,
at 18. You know.
18-year-old Mickey walked up.
First thing I would tell him, in all reality, knowing what I know now, you know, to save you some heartbreak and save you some, you know, is turn your life over to the Lord. You know, God's got a plan for your life. He does. He's got a plan for your life. And if you accept Christ as your Savior, your life can be beautiful, not without challenges. You know, it can save you some making some wrong mistakes and choices. But it's a big thing. Some of the greatest decisions you'll make, again, is